What's up, guys? Brian here with Up Creek Arms. Just out here in the holster shop doing a little cleaning up. Thought it'd be a good time to show you guys how we make our holsters. Wanted to put a video out there kind of showing the process so you know when you order what you're getting and how we do it. It's a pretty interesting process. So we'll get right into it. So I guess the first step is your order, obviously. So put them in, and then once we get that, we'll determine what kind of mold we have, and from there the process will change depending on the type of mold that we'll be using. So just to kind of show you how this works, I've got a couple of molds here. We can either use what they call full molds or vacuum press molds, which are like butterfly molds, and I'll kind of show you. Here is a full mold. So basically what we have here is, I guess, essentially a replica of the pistol. In this case, you're looking at I believe this is a Kimber K6, yes. And I've already got it prepped a little bit for molding, for making a holster. And you can see also where the cylinder is, how we've got this mold is already designed to create the slot for the cylinder. So there's a little less prep for me to do here. This wood plate that we've got here, that basically creates the area for your retention adjustment. So you want a little bit of space there. You don't want the holster to just fold around this and come together both sides flat. You want some space in there so you can adjust for retention, right? All right, so let's get started making a holster. So the first step is picking out our color. We have lots of options to choose from here. I think for this one, being that it's for my personal firearm, I'm going to do a storm gray. It's a nice dark gray color here. So to get started, I guess this round we'll be making a holster from a full mold. So I'll show you that process first, and then we will do some other videos on the thermoforming method in the future. So to get started, we have to heat up the Kydex, and believe it or not, the way we do that is we use a t-shirt press. So this guy has a heating element, a heat plate up top there. We've got some Teflon material here that the Kydex slides underneath. It goes in the press there, and we close this for a length of time to get the plastic heated up. Initially, when we started out, believe it or not, we were using this toaster oven. So don't recommend using that for anything edible after using it for heating up the Kydex, but a lot of folks use this method as well for heating their plastic, and it worked for us until we were able to upgrade here for the t-shirt press. So for the full mold method, what we'll do is we actually do what we call a press method. So we have this apparatus here, basically a press, and let me grab the mold, or a mold, to show how this works. So what we have here is a high density foam. You can see how it has this squish here, and what we do is we will put the mold in there with the hot sheet of Kydex. We will fold it around the mold, and then do just like the name, press it in there, right? So we'll get everything heated up, and we'll show you how that works. All right, so I've got my Kydex in the press. I'm gonna get it started, get the timer rolling on that. And one thing that we want to do while this is heating up is we're actually gonna preheat our foam for the press here, okay? And what that does, a little pro tip, if you preheat the foam, it basically prevents the Kydex, when you go to press it, from just getting shocked by the cold foam and just hardening way too fast. What you want, and also it kind of helps give this a bit more, I guess, squish for pressing the Kydex into all of the little nooks and crannies where we want it to get on the mold, okay? And again, like I said, we don't want when this goes into the press the Kydex to immediately get shocked cold. got the top piece up here on top of the toaster oven, kind of warming on top of it, but I'm also going to hit it a little bit. All right, so everything's getting preheated. My Kydex is getting ready to come out. All right, that's ready. All right, I'm going to try to be kind of quick here, but what we're going to do, not burn ourselves, so we're going to use obviously a glove hand here. Get this guy out, lay it down, put the mold in there, okay, and then we want to actually pull kind of a little bit there, fold it around, bring your mold over, press. All right, and then we're actually going to get some more force here and actually clamp it with the C-clamp to really get as much pressure as we can to really get some good definition on this press. Okay, so we've got that set in there now. Turn my toaster oven off for preheating my foam. All right, so now it's just a matter of waiting. All right, so obviously with this foam, you can imagine it's kind of self-insulating, right? So it's going to take a little while for this to actually cool off to the point where we can take it out and take it off the mold. All right, you don't want to take this out too soon because obviously the plastic will still be hot and malleable, and then it'll mess up your mold, okay? Or mess up your shell rather. All right, so we're gonna let this cool off. We may prep some other molds for our next order while we're waiting for this, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to take the shell out. All right, so through the miracle of time, we are cool enough to remove our molded shell. Get this guy out of here. See how she looks. I'm doing this with one hand while recording with the other, so just have to bear with me here, guys. All right, let's take this off, see what we got. All right, check that out. All right, so you can see we got nice tight definition. Nice and tight along the sight channel there. Just what we want. Looking good. All right, so the next step will be to get this out of here, get the mold out of it, and we will start marking it up for trimming it out. Let me get this second hand free here, and I'll get this guy out of here and we'll start working on it. All right, so got my hands free here. Let's go ahead and start getting this guy out of here. I'll tell you, if you getting that plastic good and hot, as you can see, it will fuse together. And something that you can do to help prevent that I did not do on this mold, or this press, was to you can actually spray a little bit of lubricant, just some gun oil. So I got some ballast oil here. Right before you press it, you can actually just spritz the back side of the Kydex. So when you press it, fold it over itself, these areas don't fuse together. So this one's just going to be a little bit of a bear to get it out. That is all right. We will make it happen. There we go. Okay. So next step is to start looking at the outline of the holster, how we want to trim it out. Get me a pencil here. All right, so this is where we get a little bit artistic, okay? So obviously you want to kind of follow the outline of the gun itself. We want to make sure that our trigger guard is completely covered by the holster. So when we go to trim it, obviously we want to make sure that's covered, but we also want to trim it in a way that we can get a full master grip on the pistol. I typically will draw mine a little larger than what I want the finished holster to be, or when I trim it out, I'll trim it a little bit larger than my cut line, and then you can always come back and sand it down more. You can always remove, but you can't add it back, right? So another tip here, I actually like to leave a little bit of material underneath the trigger guard here, and I have my reasons for that. One of them being, if I'm going to use a concealment claw, which you'll see on this holster, what I like to do is to make sure I have a little material behind where that concealment claw goes. So if I'm going to mount this guy right here, you can see behind where that goes, it's actually riding on some material. And what that happens is it kind of relieves some of the stress on your mounting holes. So if you imagine this guy being in your pants, you're wearing it, you got your belt pressing on that, you got a good amount of pressure pushing here, which then is going to pivot on these mounting holes. And I have seen holsters crack under stress here. So what can happen there, or what to help alleviate that, I like to put a little material behind it, so when it's pressing, it's actually pressing against the holster and kind of helping keep some of the pressure off of the mounting screws. All right, so again, we want to make sure that we leave clearance for mounting our claw. So we're just going to mount where that, or mark where that guy kind of is going to ride, right? So that when we are trimming, we'll leave enough material. Okay, then again, we're going to leave a little bit to our creative abilities, and like I said, once you trim it, you can always take away, but you cannot add it back, right? So just get your basic outline, come up here, area for the cylinder, come down. All right, it's going to look a little something like that. All right, so now we're ready to trim this guy and move on to the next step. So I'll take you guys over to the scroll saw next. All right, excuse the mess here, but here's the scroll saw. So this is a pretty good tool for trimming out your holsters. Okay, you can make some pretty tight cuts with this, really tight radiuses, and not have to worry about relief cuts and all that, because your blade is super small. As with anything, let's make sure we're being safe and that we're keeping our fingers out of the cut path as we go. Here we go. We are done trimming that there. You start to see our holster forming shape. All right, next up is a bit of sanding, getting these edges dialed in, getting our final shape in place for our holster. On to the next step. We're going to do a little sanding and shaping of our holster here. We're going to use a disc sander. We'll be using a Dremel here with a little bit of a sanding disc on it to kind of start working our holster into our final shape and cleaning up these rough cut edges for fit and finish. So here we go. Alright, as you can see, I'm still not going terribly deep at any one point in time, taking off little bits by bits. Got some rough edge here. Let's see if we can clean that up. Perfect. All right. Looking good, getting there. All right, final bit is, as far as edge finish, would be buffing. Get some of these last little burrs off, and to soften the edge up nice, give it a nice little gloss finish. All right, but I think what we'll do first is check the fitment and put some hardware on this guy, and then do our final polishing. We may do a little polishing first, just around the areas where the hardware might be in the way. One thing you'll see as we're going around here to each stage, this is a dirty job. You see all this Kydex plastic dust. Guys, especially when you're doing this stage here, polishing, you get some really fine dust. So I highly recommend wearing a ventilator, a mask of some sort to make sure you're not breathing this stuff in. Let's get started on a little bit of polishing here. Again, we're going to do it around where I know some of the hardware is going that might be in the way after we get that installed. Alright, so I don't know how easy it is to see there. Yeah, check out that nice gloss, smooth finish. Alright, so this ensures not only it gives a nice finished look here, but we're smoothing out these edges. We're making sure there's nothing rough there that's going to be getting in contact with your skin. We want this holster to be comfortable. We want you to wear it, use it, protect your life. Alright, so we can come back to this step here in a minute. I just wanted to get at least this side done here to a certain extent where some of our hardware is going to be that might get in the way of getting some of this done here after we install the hardware. Okay, we're back over at the table where we assemble, and what I'm going to do now is start marking where our hardware is going to mount. So this guy is going to get a J hook. Okay, let's find one of those, shall we? Alright, so we're going to have a concealment claw, J hook right there. Looks pretty good. And actually, I'm going to go a little deeper because given that this is a revolver, I know my grip is pretty far up. I've got plenty of clearance for a master grip. So give a bit deeper concealment with a higher mount. Looks pretty good there. Just gonna mark where our mounts will go. Good. Alright, let's go over to the drill. Drill this guy out. Let's drill our holes. Shed a little light on the situation here. Alright. So, drilling those holes, especially where the drill bit exits, it's going to create some burrs, some raised lip there. I'm just going to take that and ream it out a little bit, get rid of any excess material, burrs, clean that out nice. All right, we are ready to do some assembly. All right, so I run into a little trouble here, so I'm speeding it up just because you don't want to watch me struggle, but I'll walk you through it. So I'm getting my rubber spacers, putting those in for your retention, putting in the T-posts. All right, so here I realized that my screw's a little short, so we're going a different route. Get my longer screws. And good to go. Alright, so we've got our bell attachment on, we got our concealment claw on. Just need to add our little standoff. I'll go with a tall one or a short one. I think for a revolver we'll start with the short one. Put this guy on, grab our nut and our screw. Alright, so you can see these claws, the way they're designed to be ambidextrous. I can mount to either side of the holster. I can mount the standoff to either side of the claw. Get that screwed into place. All right, looking more like a holster, huh? Looking good. We'll have to clean off obviously our cut lines here. We'll do final fit and finish, a bit more polishing in the areas that I missed earlier. The last thing we do with all of our holsters is confirm fitment. Obviously, we want to make sure that your holster is properly retentioned on the actual firearm. So whether we have it ourselves or we use the customer's gun for final fitment, always confirm that we have it properly retentioned and that the customer is happy with the fit. Okay, so got this guy dialed in. Everything's finished out with the polishing of the edges, and we set our retention screws. So I've got a nice click in there for the retention, and I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think? If you like this, give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll be putting out some more content between the range, our firearms instruction, and holster making. So we got the trifecta. All right, appreciate you guys.